I had big plans in July to ride 9 centuries, but I was only able to complete 8. It was a big month. On the 28th, I ran the wharf to wharf and then tried to ride my bike back over the hill, but Mount Madonna crushed me. So I wasn't able to do number 9, but I got 8 in, and here they are. The first one was a day after Independence Day. ACTC has a pancake breakfast. Our bike club has a pancake breakfast every year, and went around the South Bay, rode 102 miles, not much climbing. It was my number 28 of the year. This is what the route looked like, and this is what the climbing looked like. On the next day, I did a club ride. I went from home out to Woodside to join Donnie and his crew. A little bit more climbing, number 29. There it is, went up north and then back down home. Donnie usually does a lot of climbing, but I only did one of the big climbs with him up to Crestview. Ralston's a little bitty climb, but they did more. I went back home. Here's a picture of me at Whiskey Hill Road on my way back home. And this is a view of the mountains to the east. You can barely pick out Mount Hamilton in the middle of the picture there. It's the Lick observatories on the peak. On the 7th, so this is 3 basically in 3 days, I led a ride from the coffee shop in San Jose down to Morgan Hill, number 30 of the year, kind of a funky route. I rode a lot of this with Cindy Stayer. Here's what it looks like, and made it back home fairly easily, not a tough ride. I also rode with the lady in pink for a while, and this is before I'm heading home. Dropped her back off at the coffee shop with David. Then I went out to there was an air show out at the Model Air Club over on Coyote Creek Trail and got a few pictures of airplanes. The next weekend, there were 2 200Ks, one from San Francisco to Cloverdale, and the next day, one from Cloverdale to San Francisco. Both days, roughly 125 miles and 7,000 feet of climbing. First day started at the Golden Gate Bridge, went up to Cloverdale. Kind of cold in the morning, but heated up during the day. A few little climbs here through Occidental and San Rafael, and then up to Cloverdale. Here's our fearless leader giving us the info about the ride. It was kind of cool that morning, but it was a fun ride. The next day, we got up from the hotel and rode from Cloverdale back down to San Francisco, back across the Golden Gate Bridge. I could have done without those 2 climbs at the end there at Fairfax, but it was a fun ride, and I rode most of it with my buddy Mick. Here's the Pacific Ocean going down Highway 1. The next weekend, I led a crew ride from Santa Cruz to Monterey, a bunch of club members out there. This is a familiar route, south to Monterey, back up to Santa Cruz. Few little rollers here and there, not much climbing, just about 5,000 feet. And this is the crew I led from left to right. There's Manny and Ken and Walt and John and Art, and me, Kevin Kozar, Carrie, first ride with the club, Ray, Kristen, Will, Stuart, Ahmed, Fran, and Linda. Here's my buddy Ken with Carrie at the wharf in Monterey after some clam chowder. The next day, I led a club to Morgan Hill, another one that I do frequently as sort of a recovery ride. Not too much climbing, number 34 of the year. Kind of a weird route, bouncing around, just trying to get the ride done. Started an Avid Coffee, worked doing down to Morgan Hill, came back. I also rode this one with Cindy. Here's the Claro Reservoir, and we stopped for a hot dog, or at least I did, and a Coke by Dwight of Dutchman D's. Excellent hot dogs He's always at the corner of McKean and Harry Roads on the weekends, and I stop there to partake of his culinary masterpieces. On the next weekend, I led a ride for the Ice Cream Social. I actually rode from my house, met up with the riders, and we went up, had some ice cream, and then I rode around to get the rest of my 100 miles in. Not too many hills. The club ride was 57 miles. I added 43 of my own, and just a couple little climbs here and there. This is my crew from left to right. I have Rolando and Rolando is neighbor of Steve, who was late. Dr. Purple Kristen, PhD in something I can't comprehend. Chuck is the big tall guy in yellow. Linda is a grinder. Dr. Greg, the dentist. Walt, Lisa, the stalker, as we call her. David, hiding back there. Tim, the iPad guy. Barry, the long distance rider. Doug, the death rider. Daniel from Liechtenstein, his first ride with us. And yours truly, Fat Boy. I found this cowboy roping a helpless wooden cow back in the Santa Teresa Ranch area. First time I'd ever seen that place, and kind of interesting. They've got a little ranch going on in the back, and they teach people how to rope. For August, my plan was to knock out a few more centuries, which I did, and I'll make a video of that soon.